Who doesn't love hot and sour soup? It is savory and sour and heaty. It just totally warms the soul. Hey everyone, I'm Flo, Dude is behind the camera, and we're all about simple food, simple faith. We're making a hot and sour soup today, and I just love everything about hot and sour soup. All the different flavors that combine together and all the different textures. This recipe can be found in my Chinese homestyle cookbook, and we're making it on the stovetop today using my Dutch oven, and I am going to change it up just a little bit to give you some options. Instead of ham, we're going to be using ½ a pound of ground pork today. I'm gonna get my pot going, turning it on medium. I'm just gonna wait for that to heat up a little bit before adding our oil. Okay, just adding about a tablespoon of vegetable oil. And just get my pork going. It wasn't heated up enough, obviously, because I don't hear a sizzle at all. There it goes. I didn't season it or anything because it's just going to take in all the flavors from the soup. So you just want to cook this through. I'm just going to prepare my piece of ginger. So you can slice it up if you like. I'm just going to bash it because I just want the flavor of it and I want to be able to scoop it out easily. There we go. If you don't want meat in it, you can make this totally vegetarian as well. Just don't add the meat. All right, so I'm adding my ginger. It's about ½ an ounce, maybe a little bit more than ½ an ounce. When you're leaving the skin on ginger, make sure you clean it really well because you don't want all the bacteria and stuff that's stuck in between the nooks to, well, you don't want to ingest that. Okay, I'm adding 8 cups of chicken broth. And again, if you want this to be even vegan, I think, you can use a vegetable broth instead. We're going to bring the chicken broth up to a boil. And once it starts boiling, you're going to turn down the heat and let it simmer for 20 minutes. So while the soup is simmering, we're going to prepare the rest of the ingredients. So I have a carrot. I'm not going to use all of it because it's like a giant carrot. So maybe about this much, 3/4 of it. And we're gonna julienne the carrot, cut it up into matchsticks.
It's a pretty giant carrot.
It is, right? But I love these jumbo carrots because they're quite sweet, perfect for soups. I'm using ½ a pound of cabbage, and it's about 1/4 of a small cabbage. I'm just going to shred this as well. I'm chopping up 3 stalks of green onion. I'm going to use half of it in the soup, and the other half I can use as garnish. Or you can throw the whole thing in if you want. Totally up to you guys. I'm using about 7 large shiitake mushrooms. You can use dried ones if you want, taking off the stem. And we're not going to use those because that can be quite tough. And we're just going to slice these. If you're using the dried ones, make sure you rehydrate them before you start cutting them up and using them. All right, ta-da!
That's a lot of slicing.
You know what? It's a pretty big recipe. Feeds 6 to 8, like pretty large bowls, and so it's great for company. So I don't have enough room on my board. I'm just going to cut it up in here. So I'm going to cut it in half. And this is about 1.5 pounds of tofu. If you can't find it in this size, you can use more or less. It's totally up to you. Turn them back down. I'm just going to cut them into cubes. Okay, I am using a medium firm tofu, and I wouldn't try using a soft tofu for this because you want the tofu to kind of keep its shape and not kind of fall apart in your soup. And you can use an extra firm tofu if you want, but I kind of like the texture of the medium firm. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. And I'm gonna cut them up in like these fairly big cubes, about 1 inch in size. Okay, and now I'm just gonna set this aside. I'm also using 4 ounces of bamboo shoot, and this is just canned bamboo shoot. You can get them in strips like this, or they come wider and thinner. Okay, I'm using 1/2 ounce of dried black fungus, and it comes like this, already kind of cut up. And you want to rehydrate that before using it. So I've been rehydrating this for, well, it's been over 1/2 an hour now, but you want to at least 30 minutes in hot water to bring them back to, well, undried. Just want to measure out our seasoning. And I'm using 1/2 cup of rice vinegar. If you don't have rice vinegar, you can just use regular vinegar, but I do find that regular vinegar is more strong, so you might want to start with a little bit less. So 1/2 cup, and you can always add more later if it's not sour enough. And we're going to add 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. And again, you can add more if you need more saltiness to the soup later. I'm also going to beat 3 eggs. Just want to lightly beat it. Okay, and set that aside. All right, we're gonna dig out our ginger.
That was pretty easy to find.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna add our carrots and cabbage. And we're gonna cook that for 2 to 3 minutes. After 2 to 3 minutes, we're gonna add the tofu. Heat that through. It's getting quite full, huh?
Oh yeah, is it going to contain everything?
I hope so. All right, I don't know why I thought it could fit in my smaller cast iron Dutch oven. I usually use this when I'm making this amount of soup, which is my 5.5 quart Le Creuset Dutch oven. And I'm gonna add the fungus that I've already drained. Bamboo shoot. All the mushrooms. That would not have fit in the little one.
Impossible.
And 1/2 of my green onions. We're just going to heat that all through. Should take another couple minutes. Oh, one more thing. Don't forget to add the seasoning. Just put it all in there. When the soup is simmering, add your egg in, like drizzle it in slowly so you can create these ribbons of egg. Okay, I'm making a cornstarch slurry. I'm going to start with 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Adding about 2 tablespoons of water. Make sure that it is cool or room temperature water because cornstarch will not dissolve otherwise. And this is what's going to thicken up your soup. So I'm going to stir that in. And if it's still not thick enough, like it's not going to be thick like the restaurants because I think they use a lot of cornstarch, which I'm not going to do here, but it thickens it enough for my liking. The egg also thickens it a little bit, and there's so much going on here, you really don't need a thick soup. So I am going to try it to see if I need to adjust the ingredients. Before I taste it, forgot to add 2 pinches of ground white pepper. The ground white pepper will give it heat. And we're gonna add a teaspoon of sesame oil. Sesame oil gives it flavor. Let's give this another stir. I think Dude would want more heat, but I like it the way it is. Might add a little bit more soy sauce, so let's do that now. But it's not super vinegary, it's just a little bit tangy. I probably added another teaspoon or 2 of soy sauce. Okay, now I'm just gonna spoon it for Dude and he can give you his opinion. Are you all ready for?
So this soup is something that we ordered a lot as a family. When we had family gatherings at the dinner, the multiple course meals would start off with the hot and sour soup. And I don't know why my memory goes back to like really goopy, thick hot and sour soup that was like really dark. You know what? You make it your own. If you want it thicker, you know how to do that. All right. Nice flavors, nice textures all together. There's a lot going on here with the different veg and the tofu and the meat and the fungus. Whew. A lot of good stuff. You know what? I think I'm gonna add a little bit more heat. White pepper. Oh, that's a lot, isn't it?
Well, I put 2, well, I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna just, I think it's pretty conservative. But Flo could be thinking, I'm a madman. And personally, I would add a little bit more vinegar to make it more sour.
Yeah, there's some right behind you.
Yeah, but that's the thing that with the soup, you start off with a good base and then you can customize it for each person, right? There's the heat.
Thanks, Dude. As Dude said, this is a great starting point. You can adjust the flavors however you like. And for more comfort Asian food, check it out. I will see you over there.